Hello everyone, welcome back. DBC Down by Contact Football Podcast, episode number 22. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at DBC_football. Check us out on the web, dbcfootball.com, on YouTube, DBC Football, and make sure you follow us, subscribe and whatnot on iTunes and Stitcher. You can also find all of our links to Stitcher on our blog. I'm your host, Dylan, and I am joined, as always, by Bill. Bill, how you doing?
Greetings and salutations. I'm doing okay.
All right, well, that's fair. And as a massive treat, we are joined again by the one, the only, Jake the Jaguar.
Yo, what up?
Yes.
Fortunately, the only.
Yes. So a little bit of a shake-up. Tom will no longer be joining us here on the podcast, and Jake will be filling in admirably.
Chair. That's spelled C-H-E-A, chair.
Chair. Not my chair, not my problem. All right. I'm
against it, but whatever.
So 1 vote for, 1 vote against. Jake, what'd you think of that romp in London this week?
It was fantastic.
It was fantastical.
As previously stated, I believe about 2 weeks ago, it is my favorite day of the year. And as some of you can see, there's a reason behind that. But I think the most telling sign that it was just going to be just a wonderful day was the fake punt.
Yeah.
I think we were up about 33, 34 at that point in time. Ooh. I mean, it was one of those things where we saw the play, saw the formation, just went for it.
Yeah, and I think the folks on NFL.com made a really good point. You put so much preparation into facing another NFL team that most of the times for a gadget or a trick play to be in the playbook or on your play sheet for that game, you have to get the right down and distance, you have to get the right formation. I mean, if you don't use it, you lose it. So kudos to Doug Marrone and calling that fake punt and actually going for it and pulling it off. I think it really electrified things more in Wembley Stadium over in London. And, it was a great start, too, for football day. So, the 9:30 game and then the 1 o'clock games and the 4 o'clock games and then the 8:30 game.
Would you say it worked out better than just overtly going for it on 4th and 8?
Absolutely. I mean, they go for it on 4th and short. They go for a run, right? Maybe they go for a run, maybe they go for a pass. But fake punt, they rip off a 59-yard rush.
Absolutely. And if anybody out there who plays Madden knows, it is the oldest trick in the book. Fake punt run, you guarantee 10 yards every time.
There you go. You heard it here first. Or last. I don't know.
It depends on how much you've played Madden over the years.
True.
I haven't played any because not my thing.
You're incorrect.
Fair enough.
Or not. Okay. So, Jake's here with us. He's gonna be joining us weekly, and we're excited to have him.
I'm excited to be here, gentlemen, and it is. I don't want to say it's an honor, but it will be a pleasure.
There you go. I like that. Well, solid, Jake. You're a chipper fella. Well, without any further ado, we'll get into our normal segment here. News around the NFL. Odell Beckham Jr. A lot is typically made of his antics, and here he goes again. Scores a touchdown late in the Eagles game. At the time, they were down still. Multiple scores, and he lifts his leg up like he's peeing like a dog. I still don't quite understand what he was going for. I don't think it was all that clever. Of course, I'm an Eagles fan.
He said, well, I'm a dog, so I was going to act like a dog. Like, when did he become a dog? I'm not...
Yeah, I still don't... I mean, I thought he was still having relations with the kicking net. But what do I know?
Perhaps he's moved on, and that's a sign of it.
Listen, that guy is... I don't want to say he's a bum, but he's a bum in the fact that he's all talk. Obviously, he puts up every once in a while.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where if it doesn't go his way, and we even saw it in the preseason game. When,
absolutely.
All of a sudden, he didn't quite get the call on pass interference, and his ankle started hurting him.
Well, yeah, when Malcolm Jenkins clotheslined him, which, by the way, was awesome. I won't typically condone that sort of thing, but Odell Beckham Jr. is a nightmare of a person. And then Malcolm didn't get flagged for it, so Odell Beckham was then hurt.
Yeah.
He walked halfway off the field and then dropped to the ground.
And then removed his helmet.
Because he's allowed.
Exactly. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, removing your helmet in anything on the field is an automatic penalty.
I mean, I think you're allowed if there's a trainer actually out there looking at you, but no.
I think it is also discretionary. Like, it's not mandatory for them to actually flag you for it, but obviously it is still an infraction.
And like I've said on a previous show, the only people I've seen not get flagged for it who do it often are Des Bryant and Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
The divas of the grass.
The divas of the grass. So, what do you guys think? You're tired of Odell Beckham? Do you think he's worn out his welcome in New York? What do we think's the future for Odell Beckham, who's on to Tampa Bay?
Well, listen, as long as he keeps producing, I mean, he can keep doing any on-field antic that he wants. It's the same feeling that I have for your Randy Moss, your Terrell Owens. As long as you put up a 20-plus touchdown catch season, put up 2,000 yards receiving, 3,000, you can do whatever the hell you can do whatever the heck you want on the field. But the second you stop producing, the antics will catch up with you.
Yeah.
Even though you were doing that while producing.
Right.
Your antics will immediately catch up to you. So if that's the kind of perception you want to have when you retire late, that's fine. What's one of the few things we remember about Randy Moss? His straight cash, homie. Remember the movie?
Straight cash, homie.
What's one thing we gloss over is that record-setting touchdown catching year with the Patriots. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. But you stop producing, these things catch up with you.
Absolutely. I think, obviously, owner John Mara was certainly tired of having to defend his antics.
Right.
And Ben McAdoo, I mean, you saw it on the sideline. He walked over and literally grabbed him by the shoulder pads and just said, "Stop it.
Don't do that."
Speaking of Ben McAdoo, what a veteran leadership on that team.
Jesus.
Wait a minute.
When he's the smart one.
You're making funnies?
Of the sideline there.
Are you being a funny guy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When he's the smart one in a situation, you've done something wrong.
He looks like a thumb. I mean, I don't trust a guy who looks like a thumb.
I wouldn't trust him.
I'll say with going back to Odell and to Jake's point, when you are actually producing, he's right. They're going to kind of look a little bit the other way. Depends on how bad your antics are, of course. But if you can actually manage to mature when you're not producing, they might kind of give you a pass then. But especially when someone who is emotionally unstable as it is, but you have someone who's not really producing, that tends to lead to further antics, and then they go, well, this is the same guy who did X, Y, and Z, and he's just always been this way throughout his career.
I mean, granted,
so it compounds and makes you less of a valuable commodity to not only say New York right now and whatever team you happen to be on, or any prospective teams that might want to sign you.
Yeah. I mean, granted, he made 2 remarkable catches in the game.
Yep.
But he also was the reason that, on one particular drive, the Giants gave the Eagles better field position. And in a close game, especially when you're trailing, that's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. So we'll monitor it moving forward, and I'm sure this is not the last we've heard of Odell Beckham Jr. doing something unintelligent this year.
I'm sure this is not the last where you will say that this is not the last we've heard of Odell. Yeah. Because that's at least the second time.
That is the second time, yeah.
I know, it's literally the second time.
Big story around the league. Trump kind of spat on free speech a little bit. He's kind of a lunatic and ridiculous human. Sorry for throwing out a political opinion, but that's just, it is the big story in the NFL right now. So the flag protests and the kneeling during the national anthem, all that kind of stuff is going around. I'll just say my piece on it, and you guys don't have to if you don't want to, but my piece on it is I stand for the national anthem, but it doesn't hurt my feelings if someone feels their right to peacefully protest is kneeling during the national anthem. It doesn't hurt my feelings, doesn't offend me. I was raised to stand for it, so I do, but I will never go about telling someone else what they have to do during the national anthem. Like a lot of the people who are upset, I would like you to consider this. When you're sitting in your recliner and the game is on Sunday, do you get out of your recliner, take your hat off, put your hand on your heart, and stand there for the national anthem? Think about it. That's my piece.
I never have.
The only thing I'd like to add on to Dylan's point there, I'm not 100% in agreement with him, but just a little side note for everybody to also think about when they're at home, watching their anthem. Remember that not everybody in that stadium is also standing. They show you the players. They may show you some of the attendants. But guess what? Your people helping people get the seats.
Right.
Your concession stand employees. Your security. You're everybody filming. Nobody standing at it. Not the entire stadium standing at attention.
Absolutely.
So just remember that while it is a sign of protest in some regard, not everybody in that entire stadium is also paying attention to the national anthem.
Exactly. Do you have it on your iPod?
Absolutely not.
Right.
All right, and we didn't always stand for the national anthem in football anyway. You know, that's a relatively new thing. Like the past 8-9 years, something like that.
I mean, yeah, people are making such a huge deal out of this. At the end of the day, it's a game.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't care. I don't care about the people complaining about it.
Yeah.
I mean, several people on social media, and you hear them like.
Yeah, it just happens to be the big story right now.
Right. Saying like, "Oh my God!"
And I wish it wasn't.
There's this protest happening for we're gonna boycott the NFL, don't shop, and all this, and which is that's
video
how you
of the guy who burned his own season tickets.
Right. That's how.
Who did he hurt?
Right. That's how you feel about
his
it.
own wallet. That's
right.
who.
Right. That's how you feel about it. More power to you, but I'm not going to care about your complaints. I'm going to enjoy the game. Whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, I also one huge takeaway from this weekend is not only the owners uniting with the players and the players all standing in solidarity, but especially in that London game where everybody's standing for they are in a different country,
and
playing a different game,
right.
and they are still standing for attention. But then when the God Save the Queen comes on, nobody on the NFL side, the players, everybody gets up and starts milling around. So it's also one of those things where you got to understand that it's just kind of like, I mean, I don't want to say it's just a song, but it's just
kind of is.
It just quite literally is. I mean,
the protest is more than just what the flag,
Right, in this particular instance this past weekend, a lot of them weren't doing what they were doing out of protest for the same reason we'll say like Colin Kaepernick originally did, the issues with the police, blah blah blah, any of that stuff. A lot of them were doing it in reaction to Trump. They were specifically saying we don't care what Trump has to say about our business, pretty much. Which I'm in full support of. I don't care what he has to say about anyone's business. I mean, you're in government now, dude. Don't tell people how to run their businesses. It's
right. And he's always wanted to be an NFL owner. He's always been trying to get into that. I
believe he had that
club.
What was it? The XFL with Vince McMahon.
Yeah. He had Herschel Walker, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Trump's always wanted to be an NFL owner, and I think this is. I mean, there's plenty of other things going on in the world. This is just a game. It'll continue to be a big story, but this will hopefully be the last that I ever talk about it on this podcast.
Let's hope.
Let's hope it is.
Other news, Andrew Luck, Chuck Pagano had said earlier in the week that he could potentially return to practice this week. That turns out it will not be the case. So still targeting a Week 6 return for Andrew Luck. But at this point, why not start him out on the PUP to start the season? You wasted a valuable roster spot. You only get 53. And you wasted one for what will look like the first 6 or 7 weeks of the NFL season.
Now, this may not be the case, but I think this also has to go back to way back when Peyton Manning's last year in Indianapolis. One of the reasons they never put him on IR or the PUP list was because a unspoken agreement to make sure he gets paid in his last year. While Andrew Luck may not have been 100% wonderful, I also feel like it's one of those... ownership saying, "Attaboy."
We'll still pay
you.
you.
Go PUP or you go IR, you get a reduced salary from what you've signed because the team has insurance on you. But it's also one of those we appreciate what you've done.
So they're sacrificing to show what value Andrew Luck has with the organization.
Or it could be a good faith when it comes time to renegotiate.
Yeah,
hey, we kept you active, we get you paid.
Yeah, we got your money. That's fair.
Again, I could be wrong. I'm just a conspiracy kind of guy when it comes to money.
Jesus.
Well, to each their own. Big news out of Philly. Darren Sproles broke his arm and tore his ACL in the same play. He has had successful surgery on the arm. Still will undergo the ACL surgery, but he did tweet out, the comeback will be real.
Sure did.
Was that a one-handed tweet?
Ooh.
That was rude.
So,
I mean, the thing I think we have to consider about this is that this was the last year of his contract. So, and then he's going to be, how old? 35, 30, yeah, I think he's 34 now. He's going to be 35, I think. Could be wrong.
I'd have to fact check.
Right, I mean, he's not young. We can agree on that as far as running backs go. And I would hope that they come to a good agreement to have him at least for a year in Philadelphia. But if he ends up anywhere, what can he even expect as far as pay-wise? You're talking about an aging running back who's coming off major injuries.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't sell him short, not to be, no pun intended
No
there.
pun intended. But yeah, he is Darren
Literally
Sproles.
no pun intended.
He is Darren Sproles.
I mean, he has overcome massive obstacles his entire life, and I'm not gonna count him out. And I certainly hope he's back in Philly. I mean, no matter what, if he does come back next year, and I think he will,
right.
And I think he'll bounce back, and I think he'll be fine, and I think he'll play like Darren Sproles. Right. He's going to play for a contender.
Yeah.
And I'd love for that contender to be Philadelphia.
For sure. I mean, I would say just my point, like when it comes to business.
Oh, I absolutely understand.
It's a business thing. You know
absolutely.
I mean,
the Saints thought he hit his decline, and they traded him to us.
Going off of intangibles and variance, chance, luck, just what you perceive as pure talent, that's more gambling kind of a deal, you know what I mean? Where
absolutely.
The NFL is a business, and I'm 100% in agreement with you that I hope he's back in Philly next year. I hope he's still playing at a competitive level, and I hope he does great things to keep us competitive and maybe have a good playoff run. That would be awesome, a great sign-off for him if that's what he wants.
Yeah.
Just, I would reserve myself from getting too excited about. I was certainly excited about seeing that tweet, but
Yeah. That's fair.
You got to temper it
a
bit, I think.
Other news: Sam Bradford's still being held out of practice. Can the Vikings win in the playoffs? Should they make it with Case Keenum?
Nope.
Right. Moving on. Randall Cobb will play this week on Thursday Night Football. He has been cleared. He did not play this past week for the Packers, even though they did win in Aaron Rodgers' first ever overtime victory. Jake Elliott kicked an awesome 61-yard game-winning field goal. I'm sure you've heard.
I seen it.
Carson Wentz was mic'd up and happened to say, if he makes this kick, I'll give him my game check. And then, of course, the blissful, joyous reaction of just everybody when that kick was made. Longest ever by a rookie, 61 yards. 7th longest in NFL history.
And also showing just how clean-cut Carson Wentz is. How much did he say, like, son of a gun? And
Yeah, he does not curse.
Right.
But Carson Wentz, sort of following through on his promise, he will donate his game check to a charity of Jake Elliott's choice.
I read. I saw, like, on Twitter he posted that me and Jake Elliott have it squared away. However exactly you phrase it, whatever. Like, the idea is that he's going to donate the check to a charity of Elliott's choice, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Money going to charity, good thing. If you have a chance, please check out the reaction of Jake Elliott's parents in the opposite end zone at the link.
My goodness, I watched that the other day.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Was it as
awesome.
clean?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's
great.
It's a father fighting back tears for probably the most proud moment of his life.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. So it was really cool to watch. Fletcher Cox is still not practicing. Another Eagles news. He still has a calf injury. Has not yet practiced this week. Something to obviously monitor as Philly's set to travel to LA this week. Matt Forte is week to week, and it looks like he will not play this week against the Jaguars. So, the Jets are still the Jets, even though they got to win.
They're the Jets.
Yeah. Give Jamal the darn ball. I believe we're seeing the resurgence of the Jamal Charles. He looked excellent in a loss, for whatever that's worth. But he looked like the better of the two runners out of C.J. Anderson and himself, obviously. Found himself into the end zone, and he looked the best he's looked in a little over 2 calendar years. So, good for Jamal.
Good for that guy.
Exactly.
Good for him.
Defensive end, Brent Urban, has a foot injury and will miss the entire season as the Ravens continue to be, neck and neck with the Chargers to see who can lose more players every season.
I vote Chargers.
Yeah, something in the water. They brought it with them. Jay Ajayi did not practice Wednesday, waiting for official reports out for Thursday. We'll see what happens tomorrow, as this is being recorded on Wednesday. Obviously, a huge deal if Jay Ajayi doesn't play. I saw a good little piece online where they said when Jay Ajayi is not going, it's like a sports car missing the engine for the Miami Dolphins offense.
I mean, and that's saying something because Miami, aside from Smoking Jay, there ain't much down there.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Kelvin Benjamin is also not practicing. He had that ugly-looking knee injury, but no official, MRI was negative, so it looks like he could potentially be back next week if he doesn't play this week. And then keeping an eye still on the number 1 overall pick in this year's rookie draft. Myles Garrett is still not practicing, but Coach Hugh Jackson said that he is close and that he could potentially start practicing the end of this week or next week. I would expect him to play week 5 at the earliest. There you have it. Who's around the league? Now, how about
News.
unexpected fantasy stars of week 3?
Jesus.
These are the backhanded compliments of the DBC Football podcast.
You want to throw Blake Bortles' name in there, Jake?
Yeah, I'd love to throw that one
I almost incled him, but
it's
I didn't.
You know what's
Because I actually like Blake Bortles.
we actually were talking about this during the game.
Yeah.
It was something that kind of even slipped our own radar, in that not only is Joe Flacco pedestrian against the Jaguars, but Blake Bortles is actually kind of good in London.
He is.
Go figure.
He is, yeah.
Maybe one day he'll be good in America.
There it is.
Fair enough.
Wait for it. Number 5, I actually went with the Jags defense. No one gave Jacksonville a chance except for Jags fans. And boy, did that defense show up in London. And Telvin Smith, that guy's a superhero. And Calais Campbell.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'll tell you what. The entire defense with that, Calais Campbell, Jalen Ramsey, A.J. Bowie, it was just Telvin Smith. Even Puzzlesny got in there with, I think, about 5 or 6 tackles.
Puzz was doing his thing on first and second down.
He was making some issues back there.
We are, Penn State.
What was nice, and I like to point this out, that this is the second 2 out of 3 games we've knocked the starting quarterback out of the game.
That's
and
true.
by we, I mean Jacksonville. I have nothing to do with the games whatsoever.
Sure you do.
But, and I believe they quoted
Moral support.
They quoted back issues on Joe Flacco, which means he just got attacked repeatedly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was a pretty dismal game for the Ravens offense, so kudos to that Jags defense. No one gave them a chance, and they went in and they took care of business. 44-7. Realistically, should have had that shutout, but, things happen. It's really hard to shut a team out for 4 quarters, especially when you start to pull your starters out of the game.
Sure.
Once garbage time happens and you don't want people to get hurt.
Exactly. So, number 4, I threw up the Jets defense because no one, not even Jets fans, gave them a chance. They had Soak and Jay walking in there saying, "Oh, Soak and Jay, man, he's dropping that 40 burger, But did not quite work out that way.
Oh, that was something.
Yeah. Number 3, Sammy Watkins, who had previously looked like he had never seen the playbook in Los Angeles, went for 6 catches, 106 yards, and 2 scores on a fantastic Thursday night football game. First one in a very long time.
That was crazy that it was actually a great night. Not only that it was Thursday night, it was a great Thursday night game. Came down to the wire, and yours truly had Sammy Watkins on his bench, along with Blake Bortles.
There you go.
A class move on my part.
Yeah. I think your fantasy team put up 61.5 points only this week.
Yeah, and I had about 93 or so on my bench.
Yeah. Rough. Life's rough. Get a dog.
So you had more on the bench than actually on the field?
That's a fair assessment, Bill. That is a fair assessment.
I mean, is it just not to put too fine a point on it?
Yeah. You hit the...
Yeah.
Number 2?
Number 2. So I was going to go with Blake Bortles, but I decided to go with they cleaned the rims. They took the Mercedes out of the garage. Mercedes Lewis went off for 4 catches for 62 yards and 3 London touchdowns, combining his touchdown total of the previous 2 years combined.
Yeah, and
in one game.
And even to say it's a bit askew because Julius Thomas was also the number 1 tight end there, but still, that was a fantastic performance. I was a little upset starting Allen Hurns, but as a Jags fan, it's something you expect that they're just going to pull out a victory somehow.
That's okay.
Okay.
I'll take your word for it.
Shh. Just trust the system.
Okay.
Trust the process.
So good for Mercedes.
Get the
catchphrase
right.
He looked so amped to be involved in the offense, and he really got the team fired up. They love him.
This is what he was like 5 years ago.
Right.
4 years ago. And then, he just dropped off the face of the earth.
Right, yeah.
And then now I guess, maybe it's contract year. Maybe someone's going to show up.
Maybe. And at number 1, Case Keenum, who we just previously said could probably never win a playoff game for the Vikings. He had 369 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and really it was a product of Adam Thielen and Steph Diggs.
I was going to say, it's really hard to look bad.
But
fantastic wide receivers.
Good for you, Case Keenum. Good for you. Going off for over 30 fantasy points.
You weren't feeling Kirk Cousins?
No, I wasn't.
I mean, granted that he's in Washington.
He was a top pick for a lot of people as a top quarterback. So this was unexpected fantasy stars?
Well, I'm just saying.
So someone like Kirk Cousins would never be on the list.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But yeah, okay, fair enough. I'm just saying he hasn't been particularly great.
I mean, he struggled in the early part of the season, but he's still, you know.
I'm just saying, like,
especially at home,
he did kind of kill it.
Especially at home, he's statistically been pretty much a monster.
Right.
So.
That's reasonable.
So no, I did not include Sir Cousins.
Captain Cousins.
He's a bum.
Captain Kirk. All right. Game picks. That thing where we say who's going to win. So Tom is, he's kind of dropped off, and I went 8-8 this week. A couple games I wish I had back.
Good job.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. Yeah. So it brings my total record for the year to 30-17. So there's that.
Yeah, and I don't remember what I picked exactly, so to figure that one out and talk about it later. Probably next week.
So yeah, we'll shuffle things up, and now we'll have Bill and myself compete, dropping off the records of week 1.
Right, because I was not here and I forgot to send you the picks. Otherwise, I would have been in anyway, or could have been.
Well, there it is.
But now I'm in. So.
All right. So first up, we have the Thursday night football game. The Chicago Bears will be in Lambeau taking on the Green Bay Packers. Chicago did pull off a pretty cool victory at Soldier Field against the Pittsburgh Steelers a week ago in overtime. But I just don't give them any shot to go toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
In Lambeau, I don't think so.
Anyone taking Chicago?
No. Although I will say, I hope Marcus Wheaton has a good game.
Makes one of us. Another 4 football day, peoples. London game.
Not as important as Jacksonville for football game day.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. They do have that one team in Florida that people actually watch.
Ooh. New Orleans at Miami. In London. I'm struggling with this game, and I'm actually going to go against my pick.
Ooh,
my original marked pick. I went with Miami, but then I saw Jahzzar still hasn't practiced. I'm going to go with Drew Brees in London against the Dolphins.
Smoking Jay all the way.
All right. You got laces out?
You gosh darn. I got my Dolphins.
Finkel's got Miami. Bill,
I would say that we know how New Orleans is notoriously bad on the road, but they're both on the road, kind of, even though technically Miami home game. I'm going to go New Orleans.
Okay.
I mean,
just for pretty much the same reason. Ajayi's not. He may or may not. Depends. If he plays, obviously that gives him a bit more of an edge. But it's that was a tough pick. Both of them kind of stink.
True that. Cincinnati at Cleveland. Cleveland is at home, but is anybody taking them?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carolina at New England. Same deal.
Ooh, that's kind of a tough one.
Anyone taking the possibly Kelvin Benjamin less, already Greg Olsen less Carolina Panthers?
Not.
All right. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Ooh. I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Pittsburgh all the way on this one.
Yeah. Ditto.
Buffalo at Atlanta. Anyone taking the Bills after that big-time win against the Denver Broncos?
Nah, I'd flash in the pan.
Yeah, I got to go with Atlanta.
Los Angeles Rams at the Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh.
You heard it here first. I'm going Rams.
Dang, I'm going Dallas on this one.
I'm going to go with the Rams.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Even though it's probably not going to work out.
No, I like what I saw out of Jared Goff, and I think their offensive line will play significantly better than Arizona's did. And if Arizona had an offensive line, they should have won against Dallas 41-0.
I mean, I just like the idea of after Dallas fans and Dallas themselves getting cocky after what was a pretty decisive and impressive comeback win.
Was it though?
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. They won, and it wasn't like I don't know how to put this, but like they
I could have sacked Carson Palmer in that game.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah, that's true.
I believe Jesse Palmer could have sacked Carson Palmer in that game.
Arnold Palmer could have sacked Carson Palmer.
Nicely done.
But anyway, they are pretty high off that win, I think. Anyway, regardless of whether you feel it's merited or not.
It was a good trap game.
I
for Dallas.
just like the Tays getting smacked out of their mouths. Exactly. So I'm going with my heart.
It was a good trap game for Dallas, and I think Todd Gurley will have a much better time against the Cowboys than
the Gurley man.
The combination of whatever Andre Ellington, Kerwin Williams, and CJ Noke. Tennessee at Houston. I'm going to go with Mariota. They looked really good in a win against Seattle. Jake, who do you like?
This is a tough call for me.
Two teams you despise.
I'm gonna have to root for Houston only because in this one I know that Tennessee is going to win a few more games. Mm-hmm. Houston won't. So just for pure Jacksonville winning division, going to go with Houston just so they can beat up each other.
At least you're consistent.
I'm going to go with going to be division-winning Tennessee Titans.
Now, I will say, I know this is not PC in this day and age, but I hope the plane crashes for both of them on their way to the game.
That was pretty epic.
I mean, that's how
Although I
feel.
think Tennessee to Houston, I actually think they take buses.
I hope the buses crash into each other. Even more of a plausible scenario.
Well, I don't think Houston's going to take buses
Okay,
to
is
Houston.
Houston going to take a plane to Houston?
On the way to the stadium, the buses crash into each other. Duh.
Well, okay.
So the team gets
Detroit
together and gets on
at-
a bus to go to their own stadium. That's how
Detroit
that
at
works.
Minnesota. Moving on. Detroit at Minnesota. I'm going to go with the Vikings at home. Detroit is probably still going to be a little bit hungover after that, quote, loss.
Quote.
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 I'll tell you what, that speaking of that loss, I think that was one of the fair enough times that the officials got it right, and that's exactly something we need to be seeing more this year to kind of get away from some of these bad calls we saw last year.
Yeah, I mean, I read through the section and article of the rule, and I just really feel like Detroit has evidence that they've been able to get up and get the ball snapped in less than 7 seconds from, and in that situation, the clock actually shouldn't start until the ball's placed, which means the line could already be set. So, like, I don't like that the officials get to decide. I don't think they could get a playoff in 8 seconds.
Well,
So we'll do a
more-
10-second runoff.
It's more about the 10-second runoff, which has
Well-
been on the books for years now.
Well, no, it was actually, I mean, it's a discretionary call if they believe a play could be run in time. If not,
enough.
then it's a 10-second runoff.
Yeah, but we've seen another. There's been at least 2 or 3 instances where games have ended this way.
I'm just
in the
saying,
past
let
2
them try.
seasons.
Because I hate the idea of the official just ending the game. Especially when they're on the 1-yard line.
Listen,
Right.
The
I'm
1-inch
with you,
line.
but guess what? It's got to end. Sometimes the game just has to end. Just
Yeah.
let it be. If you didn't
Plus,
win
I
the
picked
game,
Detroit to win.
if you didn't win the game in the first 59 minutes and 50 seconds of the game, then you lost.
Because games never come down to the last second.
I was going to say, can we get a few things straight here? Detroit had the ball, correct?
Does the
Otherwise, we're not
59th minute and 59th second count in the game?
Oh, it counts, but
Right.
don't blame.
Listen,
don't
Jake,
blame the
no,
officials.
Jake. Simple.
I didn't blame them. I said I don't like that they have they have that discretionary call.
Let's do some simple math here. Did Detroit have the ball, and could they possibly have snapped the ball and possibly got a playoff? Is that
I don't believe they could have.
Well, last season, I'm glad you said that. Last season, in a fourth quarter comeback win, they moved the ball 27 yards on one particular play. The entire team ran up 27 yards, spiked the ball in 7 seconds. They had 8 seconds
great.
left on the clock
Right.
in this particular game against Atlanta.
right?
If-
So you're
if
going to tell
it's-
me they can't, with a set line, balls placed, then the clock starts, that they can't get a playoff?
If some
Right.
butts were candies and nuts, every day would be Christmas.
So, but it's possible. Is it possible?
Maybe.
It's healthy
Okay.
debates.
Maybe.
It's okay.
I'm just saying, for me, I would prefer the official not end the game in that
Yes,
in
I
that
don't-
fashion.
I don't care if it's like so out of bounds possible, but nonetheless still possible. If
Right.
it is possible, they got to let it try to happen because teams can possibly also out of bounds possibly
Yeah.
win on freak plays.
What if Atlanta jumped off sides?
Right.
What if there was encouragement while they were getting up the line? You never know. Anything can happen.
And what if a
But-
747 crashed into the stadium?
You're really morbid today.
I mean, what if Cher just showed up and just decided to do the national anthem, and everybody was like, "What do we do?" I mean, I can play the what if game too.
Are you afraid of Cher? I don't understand the reference.
I
though?
don't believe in life after love, to be honest, and it scares me.
Moving on. I wish I could, in good spirit, take the Jets in this game just to see your reaction. But is anyone taking the Jets over the Jaguars?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a question.
All right. Getting into the late games on Sunday, San Francisco at Arizona. I'm taking Arizona. I think Larry Fitzgerald gets 15 targets in this game.
Larry Fitz
Has another big game. Yeah.
San Francisco is just bad, so
They are. And Carlos Hyde might not play.
Run and hide. Here comes Carlos Hyde.
Could be good for Breida.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that guy. Still holding out.
Giants at Tampa Bay. I think the Giants are just so dysfunctional right now. It's so tough to say it's a must-win game. I mean, they were saying that this past week about the Giants, and then they went ahead and lost.
certainly not.
But I like Tampa at home.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Hey, you know what's irritating? Drafting Sterling Shepard in the 10th round as a sleeper wide receiver,
And then not using them.
and then literally not using him.
Yeah.
Can we just do like the 5-minute from New Jersey, Jake complains about the people he's drafted that aren't working out.
Listen, that
So
would just
you had
that'd
a
be
bad day. Take it on down. Anyway,
Okay, 5 minutes is long. 2 minutes.
Ooh.
speaking of which, the Nelson Aguilar Philadelphia Eagles
Let me tell you about this guy.
at the
real
Los
quick.
Angeles Chargers.
Listen, catch the friggin' ball. Throw the ball his way. Catch the ball.
Well, he
Come
catches.
on.
He's been catching the ball this year. He's either been interfered with or caught the ball on all but one of his targets, I believe.
It's almost like they have to respect his ability.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's pretty
It's
interesting.
irritating as he's your flex play.
Yeah. I expected more of him this week. It didn't get a whole lot of targets, but as far as I can recall, and I'd have to go back to the stats, but I believe he has caught all but one of his targets this year that he hasn't been interfered on.
Nelson's been good.
Yeah, much better than Torrey Smith.
Cut the foreplay. I'm going Philly.
Yeah, I'm going Philly as well. I actually think there will be more. This is bold prediction here. There will be more Eagles fans at the StubHub Center than there will be Chargers fans.
That's fair enough. And I'll tell
We
you
travel
what,
well.
I
We have a sports bar in New Orleans.
am also going to go with the Eagles on this one because
Good man.
it's actually just kind of fun to be
On
out
air
when
fist
the
bump.
Eagles win.
Yeah, I know I'm much more pleasant when the Eagles win.
Oh, by the way, and I'm not trying to go off on a little tangent here, but you know how Facebook has these little memories that pop up. And
Oh yeah,
things?
yeah.
So this past weekend, one of the memories that popped up was when we were out last week for Week 3. I don't know if you recall what happened on Week 3 of last year, but Philly beat Pittsburgh.
Oh
And
yeah.
then- and
Oh,
what's his
Super Bowl
prove
aspirations.
it
I do
game?
remember that.
And there's actually a video of everybody
there-
cheering.
yeah.
And I actually decided to wear I believe it was a Heath Miller jersey out, just to represent. And I'm just sitting in the corner, sad, and everybody's screaming Eagles and singing the Eagles song in my face. So
Oh yeah, that was delightful.
there's that.
Yeah.
I've been known to sing the Eagles fight song once or twice.
A day.
Oakland at Denver. This is a potential bounce back game for either team. It's really
Oakland.
hard to play in Denver. He's going Oakland. I'm going Oakland.
I'm going to go Oakland.
We're all going to go Oakland. We believe in Derek Carr.
Absolute.
The Colts at the Seahawks. I like Seattle at home. Jacoby Brissett. It's a really tough place to play in Seattle. They have no Andrew Luck.
There's no Andrew Luck, so they're pretty bad this year. Seattle are, despite their record, actually still a pretty good team in my opinion.
Yeah. Sounds like we're all going Seattle. Washington at Kansas City in the Monday night game.
Ooh, that's a tough call for some of us.
It is. We're going to ring in October. It's Sunday and Monday. And I'm going Kansas City. They're the best team in football right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know who this is a tough call for. Andy Reid and Alex Smith.
Yeah.
They're going to spank the Redskins.
Jake, you're going to be
I'm
that
going
guy?
Redskins,
He's
man.
going Redskins.
I'm going with the pile of trash throwing to the rest of the team.
Reid and the good Kelsey.
Yeah.
I got to go Redskins on this one. Sorry.
All right. I'm going to get a little bit rapid fire here on the play 'em and stay 'em at home. Quarterbacks, I think.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Andy Dalton, play him. Carson Palmer, play him. Phil Rivers, even though I think they'll lose, play him. Alvin Kamara, play him.
Ooh.
He ripped off a 25-yard touchdown to ice the game last week, and nothing happening here. And I think he's going to continue to earn more playing time as the season wears on. Miami, I think he gets a lot of good looks against Miami. I think they'll struggle in coverage against him. So I think New Orleans just gave up 9 catches for 100 yards to Christian McCaffrey, and I think Alvin Kamara is on that type of level.
Nolans is a bunch of bums.
Maybe. Todd Gurley, don't be afraid to play him this week.
The girly man.
Arizona, their smattering of running backs is no good. Todd Gurley is. And Chris Carson, I think, will have a good game for the Seattle Seahawks. I think he'll get 20 touches, and he'll put up a decent stat line and have a score. A couple wide receivers for you. Devontae Parker, I say play him against the Saints secondary, while I do think the Saints will win. Jay Cutler does that thing where he just locks in on a receiver, and at the end of last week, got a garbage time touchdown to Devontae Parker, and he was just completely locked in on him. I think that trend continues. He just starts throwing up 50-50 balls to Devontae Parker all the time. And continue to play Steph Diggs. A lot of people say don't chase the points, but I think Steph Diggs is a real playmaker, and I want to continue to see
Absolutely.
him score.
He's almost like Case Keenum's safety net.
He is. It's good to have.
Astute.
Hunter Henry against the Eagles again. I think Hunter Henry's going to do this thing where every other week he scores 0 points, And then the opposite week, he'll score a bunch of points. So I think the Eagles have struggled a bit to cover tight ends. And again, while I do think the Eagles will win the game, I think Hunter Henry can probably get 6-7 catches.
I'm just going to point out real quick that you would have literally just now told me to play Hunter Henry against, I believe, you.
That's fair.
All right.
Delaney Walker, play him. Zach Ertz, play him.
So play Delaney and Hunter Henry. Cool.
Go for it if you have them on your fantasy teams.
Yeah.
Okay. Defensive.
I have them on the same team.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm never a 2 tight end guy. Defense, special teams, I say play Jacksonville, Cincinnati, and Arizona.
Absolute.
They're trending up. As far as staying him home, keep Kirk Cousins at home. Kansas City's defense is really good. I don't know if you've heard. Jacoby Brissett against Seattle, in Seattle, not likely. And I would be a little leery of Matt Stafford this week against Xavier Rhodes, who is probably realistically the best corner in the NFL.
Fair enough.
Frank Gore, leave him at home. Chris Thompson. I think a lot of people are really going to chase the points on Chris Thompson. Kansas City, again, is really good. And I think Chris Thompson won't be as involved in the game plan this week. Could be very wrong. But Jay Gruden has talked about limiting his touches, and I don't think Kansas City is going to give up the big play to Chris Thompson. And then Isaiah Crowell against the Bengals D. Geno Atkins is going to swallow him up. At wide receiver, continue to leave Macklin on the bench. I think I talked about it last week. Chasing those Macklin points. I said don't play Macklin. If you did play Macklin, you should have listened.
Should have listened.
Robbie Anderson, don't chase the points. He had a big touchdown from Josh McCown. I don't expect that against the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. And Golden Tate, again, if Xavier Rhodes covers Golden Tate for the game, he's going to have a rough game. He may end up shadowing Marvin Jones. But if he ends up shadowing Golden Tate, which could end up, that right could end up going to Trey Waynes.
Golden Tate.
Don't play him. At tight end, while he did put up a decent stat line in his first ever game as a Jet, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, I wouldn't play against Telvin Smith. It's not a smart thing to do. When he's not covered by Telvin Smith, he'll be covered by Miles Jack.
Fair enough.
Don't do it. Vernon Davis, he scored a touchdown as the replacement to Jordan Reed.
Wait, how many touchdowns did that tight end score?
Ooh, speaking of which, don't chase the points with Mercedes Lewis. Don't do it.
I'm going to go with that's a lie.
No, you're wrong.
Chase him.
Defenses to leave at home. I do think that Rams-Dallas game could get a little high scoring, so I would be a little leery of the Rams defense this week. Carolina, obviously they're playing New England. Don't ever start a defense against Tom Brady.
Smart.
And Houston, I think Tennessee is going. They're a 30-point-a-game kind of potential team. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
I wouldn't touch that game with a 10-foot pole.
I don't even own a 10-foot pole.
Fair enough.
All right. So that's what I have for playing staying home. That's really all we have for the show. Jake, thanks for joining us again.
Hey guys, it's been like I said, it's been a pleasure, and appreciate you guys having me.
Got a little twisted with the 747 crashing in the stadium and the buses hitting each other, but other
We also
than that,
went into some incoherent tangents there, but
couple few.
Listen,
I
this
think
is-
I think it added to the entertainment.
Exactly.
This is just what's
Exactly.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna drink beer.
All right.
So we are signing off here, but maybe we have a brief moment to talk a little bit about beer. San Diego may no longer have a football team, but this week I am drinking Ballast Point Dead Ringer, their Oktoberfest, Ballast Point Brewery out of San Diego, California. It's quite delicious. Yes. Jake, what are you drinking?
I have a nice Dogfish Head Pumpkin Ale is what I'm drinking.
Oh, that's delightful.
Going again with what I was about 2 weeks ago. Very delicious. Has a nice pumpkin taste, but still strong in the IPA category.
Is that pumpkin ale spelled Lite?
Maybe.
Fair enough. Bill, how about you? What do you got?
I have Elysian Space Dust IPA. It's a very hoppy beverage from the city of Seattle, Washington, who does in fact still have a football team.
I heard they added more
Hops.
to the recipe. Is that true?
Is it a very hoppy beer?
I mean, judging from the picture that's on the bottle.
The artwork. I gotta say, like the microbreweries, the craft beers, that kind of stuff. They usually have some pretty fantastic artwork.
Yeah. I mean, some are kind of pretty plain or just ugly.
Yeah.
Victory Dirtwolf used to have a pretty cool one, which they kind of kept a similar design, but just the color scheme. It's pretty ugly. And my cousin, you're familiar with my cousin.
I am.
He's a big Victory guy and just hates the artwork, but the beer is still delicious. So, details.
Yeah.
Details.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. Drinking a little beer, talking a little football.
Crazy. Is that what we're doing?
I'm pretty sure I predicted every game right, and every person I said to play is going to have 30 points. Everyone I said to stay is going to have negative 1 point.
That's mildly scientific.
So, beer, football, good stuff. That's all I have for this week.
That
You
sounded,
guys
that
have
sounded
anything?
old school.
Right? So,
Fair enough.
so Jake, Bill, thanks for being on the show. We had a lot of fun. We talked some football, talked some beer. I'm Dylan, the host. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher. Check us out on social media at DBC_football. Check us out on the web, dbcfootball.com. And, of course, on YouTube, DBC Football. We look forward to having you next week on episode 23. Thanks for listening. Make sure you share us with your friends.